I'm Dr. Deuk Laser, board-certified neurosurgeon, here for the Deuk Spine Institute podcast. Today, we're going to be discussing a news release from Boston Scientific, which is a medical device manufacturer, one of the biggest in the world. And they released a news release that says they are now going to withdraw one of their products from the market. And that product is called the Superion Interspinous device. So what is an interspinous device? You can learn more about interspinous devices on our website at Deuk Spine Institute. So interspinous devices were a creation for treating a condition called spinal stenosis. Spinal stenosis, if you look here at this model in the lower back, lumbar spine, spinal stenosis is a condition where the holes where nerves come out of your spine get narrowed. And when the holes get narrowed, the nerves actually get pinched. They get pinched particularly when you're standing up and walking, because when you're standing, your spine gets into a more lordotic curvature. That lordotic curvature closes down the holes where the nerves comes out, and those holes get narrower. You can see that hole right there getting narrower when you're standing up. So the idea behind this device was for a surgeon to make a cut in the back and go in and basically cut through the ligaments and muscles here and place a spacer between the bones, kind of like this, in the back called the interspinous space. And this device is usually made out of metal. The Superion device is made out of metal. And the idea is to place this metal device between the spinous processes in the back of the spine and hold them apart. So what's the problem with this? Well, first of all, the spinous processes are very thin bones, as you can see. They can fracture quite easily. And that's one of the problems with the device is when the surgeons are putting it in, it's fracturing the bones. Second of all, to get the device in, you're actually cutting through muscle and ligaments and tendons that are normally there to hold your spine together. So if you're cutting those normal structures that hold your spine together, what does that do to your spinal alignment and spinal stability? Well, it destabilizes your spine and it makes pain worse, far worse, creates all kinds of long-term instability issues. Then you got the problem with the alignment of the spine. Your spine is supposed to be curved backwards. It's called lordosis. But when you shove a device in the back of your spine, it actually shifts the alignment from lordotic to kyphotic just at that segment that you're treating. So you've got destruction of normal tissues, you've got thin bones that can't really stay open and they fracture easily, and then you've got a shifting of the alignment of the spine. And then there's other issues. For example, the facet joints are often very arthritic. They're full of arthritis. They don't want to move. They're like socked in with scar tissue. So the device can't work to shift the alignment and open up the foramen if your facet joints are locked in, which is like 99% of the time. In the end, the reason why most spine surgeons don't put these interspinous devices in is because they don't work. It's basically a surgery you're doing on a patient you know ahead of time isn't going to work at all. That's why the companies that manufacture interspinous devices, they go directly to the pain management doctors because they couldn't tap into the surgeon market. So they decided, well, if the surgeons won't put these devices in, let's go to the pain management doctors. They'll put it in. That's why this device, when it was FDA approved in 2015, this device was tested for a while longer, and then the device company, the Vertiflex Superion device, that company was purchased by Boston Scientific. Boston Scientific bought the company for $465 million. That was back in 2019, so 6 years ago. Boston Scientific bought this device because Boston knew it had a huge network in the United States and the world of pain management doctors that were already used to Boston Scientific reps, the brand name Boston Scientific RFA probes, radio frequency generators, and spinal cord stimulators. So Boston Scientific is a massive company worth hundreds of billions of dollars that owns a lot of technology and produces devices that are usually used to treat spine pain and orthopedic pain. So they have all these pain management doctors on there. They've got their emails, their phone numbers. They deal with them every day in the operating rooms. And they knew that they could buy this Superion device and they could get these pain management doctors to put them in patient. Because after all, that's where back pain patients go, right? Pain management doctors. Well, the surgeons wouldn't touch the device. There are very few spine surgeons that were willing to put the Superion Interspinous device in because they know it doesn't work. So most surgeons would avoid it. Instead, Boston went to the pain management doctors where they knew they could convince the pain management doctors to put these devices in. How much do the Superion devices cost? They cost $12,100. So just to purchase the device from Boston, you're paying Boston $12,100 for this tiny piece of metal and plastic that gets stuck in between your bones. I promise you, that piece of metal and plastic, I could probably get it manufactured for under $100 each. It's not expensive. It's very cheap. So the profit margins are massive for Boston every time they sell one of these. And over 25,000 of these interspinous devices were placed in patients, over 25,000, and now they're being recalled. Now, Boston puts in its letter, we're not asking you to call these patients that have them in and tell the patients to come back and have them surgically removed. We're not asking for that. We're just taking it off the market. We're no longer going to sell this device because there's too many failures of the device. The device is breaking. The spine is breaking. And guess what Boston does in the letter? They're blaming the doctors that are putting the device in, saying that it's technique related. Well, guess what? You're asking pain management doctors who don't do surgery. They're not trained as surgeons. They're not trained as spine surgeons. Pain management doctors are not trained as spine surgeons. You went and asked pain management doctors who are not trained as spine surgeons to go and do spine surgery. Now, the pain management doctors would tell Boston, but we're not spine surgeons. And Boston would say back to them, that's okay. We'll have spine surgeons train you how to do spine surgery in a weekend course. It'll just be a weekend. Then they'll come and watch you do a few cases on patients. So this is how the big implant companies influence what's being done in America and around the world, as a matter of fact, how patients are getting treated by pain management doctors who are willing to put these devices in because of the huge payoff they're getting from the insurance companies for putting these devices in and from Boston for putting these devices in. So pain management doctors started out as doing shots, and they would make about 25 bucks profit on a shot. But on a device like the Superion device, they could go and put that in a patient in an hour or so, and they're making thousands of dollars. So instead of making maybe a few $100, they're making now thousands of dollars by putting these devices in patients. And by the way, pain management doctors don't just put Superion devices in. They're now putting spinal cord stimulators in, and all kinds of surgery procedures that were normally done by spine surgeons are now being done by pain management doctors because the pain management doctors are making so much profit doing all these treatments for patients that don't work. And of course, they're all being pushed by the medical device manufacturers like Boston. And this is what you get, folks. You get a recall on a device that never should have been put in patients. Surgeons knew better. They wouldn't put them in, and yet the pain management doctors were happy to get in line to put them in patients for the profit they were going to make. And Boston Scientific was perfectly happy promoting these devices and selling them and marketing them and training pain management doctors to put them in patients, when in the end, they don't work. And this is what you get, folks, when profitable businesses, for-profit businesses, take control of your health care. We need to get back to doing what's best for patients, and that's why at Deuk Spine Institute, our focus is patient outcomes. How do we get patients to get rid of their back and neck pain permanently? Our treatments are designed without any implants or biologics being put in patients. They're all natural, and they are the most effective treatments in the world for curing back and neck pain. Thanks for joining me on this podcast. I'm Dr. Ara Deuk-Majan, CEO and founder of Deuk Spine Institute. And thank Henry for putting the podcast together.